Welcome to the Intentional Man Podcast, a podcast that inspires and equips men to lead lives of intentionality and grow to their full potential. I'm your host, Jonathan McGinley, a life coach that helps men just like you create the life that you want and live a story of significance through my coaching and tools on intentionality. Thanks for joining, and welcome to the show. Hello, and welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me today. I'm excited for this episode. In the last episode, Mike Mitchell and I discussed the 5 exemplary practices of leadership. And it was a great episode. I took a ton away from it. And Mike shared so many great insights and really just gave a compelling vision for why it is crucial for us all to grow in our leadership skills. And no matter what position you are in at work, you are a leader. And he gave the simple definition that leadership appears to be the art of getting others to want to do what you believe needs to be done. So leadership, it's not authority. It's not a position. It is simply influence and the ability to help others want to do what you believe needs to be done. And the key word there is want. And true leadership doesn't force people to do things. It leads in a way where the people you are attempting to lead truly want to do what you believe needs to be done. And Mike just gave some great practical ways to use these 5 practices when it comes to leading others. So I'd really highly recommend listening through that whole interview. I believe there's some great takeaways for everyone, regardless of your position or your current season in life. And in talking with Mike Mitchell and with Carl Gronberg on the episode before that, it became clear that in order to lead others well, you need to lead yourself well. And they both described leadership as an invitation. You are inviting others to join you on an amazing journey. You are painting a picture and giving a vision that is compelling to others. And so as I was thinking about this invitation and how I'm living my life, I was starting to think like, how could I use these 5 exemplary practices of leadership that Mike gave us to lead myself well? And it really led to just a great discovery and a good practical approach. So I just wanted to share some of that with you today of just how to use these 5 practices to lead yourself well. So the first exemplary practice of leadership is to model the way. And this is a pretty self-explanatory practice, but basically, in order to be an effective leader, you have to show the way. You can't expect people to do things that you are unwilling to do yourself. You must live the values and the principles that you're teaching. You must practice what you preach. And having this phrase, model the way, in my head has been an awesome reminder of how I want to live and who I want to be. And in order to lead yourself more effectively using this principle, just ask yourself, like, am I living my life in a way that I'm being a great role model for others? Like, ask yourself that, or think about yourself as, picture yourself as your own leader. Would you follow yourself? Like, are you living a life that is inspirational? Are you living a life that is full of honesty and integrity? Do your actions line up with your words? Do you follow through on your commitments? Like, and if your answer to those questions is yes, then it's just about continuing to grow and getting marginally better. But if your answer is no, then this is probably something you should really take time to think about. Like, if you wouldn't even follow yourself, then why would anyone else want to follow you? And I know that's a big question, but how often do you actually think about that? I know it's something that I haven't continuously thought about in the past. So it could be time to hold yourself to a higher standard and to become the kind of person that you would want to follow. Like, this is huge. If you become a person that you are proud of and somebody that you would follow, I really do think it would just be a game changer for your confidence. And I think some of the most fulfilled people that I know, like, really have a clear vision of the kind of person that they want to be and like the values they want to live by. And then they actually truly live it out. When you know who you want to be and what you stand for, and then you actually follow through, like, I guarantee it's going to bring you a tremendous amount of joy and confidence and purpose. And so this kind of leads right into practice number 2, which was inspire a shared vision. And in the context of leading others, the shared part really applies more of actually coming up with a vision that people really contribute to. But when it applies to us, like it's crucial that you have a vision for your life that truly inspires you. If you're not clear on the person you want to be and what values you want to live by, like that would be the first action step from this episode. Get very clear on the person you want to be and the values you want to live by. Take the time to truly think through those things. I believe that intentional men know who they want to be and they pursue living in congruence to that vision, that their actions truly line up with their words. Their actions truly line up with that vision of themselves, that person of themselves, that version of themselves that they want to be. And so I know sometimes when we talk about this, like getting a vision for your life, it can be a pretty paralyzing thought. Like it seems huge. It can be difficult to think of the vision for your entire life. But instead of focusing on accomplishments or goals, those can sometimes seem so huge. Just focus on the kind of person you want to be and craft your vision that way. So the person you want to be, instead of what you want to do, the person you want to be. So if someone were to describe you to others, what would you want them to say? If there was a word that described you, what would it be? If you could be known for something, what would that be? How do you want to treat others? How do you want to show up in the world? Like those are some powerful questions. So use those kind of questions to really nail down the person that you want to be. And then use the answers to those questions to write just a paragraph that becomes a life vision statement. And then review this often. I think one of the best ways to become the person that you want to be is to gain clarity, first of all, to do that exercise and to take the time to gain clarity on exactly who that is, and then frequently review that. Like I've done this exercise recently this year for all the main areas of my life. So I have a life vision statement like I just talked about, and then I have a vision statement for kind of the main areas of life. So faith, relationships, career, health, finances. So I really thought of the person that I want to be in those areas. And I really just brainstormed that and got a good set paragraph. And now I'm reviewing those every single morning. And it's just really helping me to remember each day the kind of person that I want to be. Like it's been a really powerful exercise. And I think the days that I don't review it, I notice I'm not living quite as in step with who I want to be. So that's why I think the frequently review of these things is big, because it's easy to come up with these vision statements and then just leave them and never review them, never think about them. And then they're kind of worthless. So if you take the time to write it down, figure out some sort of system, whether it be in the morning or the night or every Sunday or whatever it is, to frequently review what you wrote down to make sure that you're living in congruence with who you want to be. So that could be a great exercise to try to inspire a great vision for your life. The third exemplary practice that me and Mike discussed of leadership is to challenge the process. So how does this apply when you're leading yourself? Mike talked about this as challenging the status quo. He said that when you aren't growing, you're typically slowly moving backwards. And I think that's true on a corporate level and a business level, but it's definitely true on a personal level as well. And I think the best way to fight just living the status quo in your life is to build the habit of reflection. And oftentimes you'll hear people say that experience is the best teacher. But I love what John Maxwell says in this. He says that evaluated experience is actually the best teacher. Like if you don't take the time to reflect and evaluate yourself and your experiences, you're probably not going to grow. Experience itself is not enough. But when you take those experiences and you actually take time to learn and to reflect and to pull the lessons from them, that's when you can actually really grow. So like how often do you actually take the time to stop and think about your life? And it seems simple, but really, like, how often do you stop to do this? Are you living like the person that you want to be? Are you pursuing the things that you want to pursue? Like, how could you get better? How could you grow more? How could you love your family more? How could you take better care of your health and your finances? Like, those are great questions to come back to and to ask yourself frequently. And I've heard a lot of the thought leaders say, like, the most successful people in life ask themselves better questions. So literally they take time to ask these kind of questions, these big questions, and really think through them. It's so easy to just coast through life without stopping and taking the time to think through these questions. But without reflection, like, you're rarely going to have the awareness necessary to make adjustments. So my challenge to you would be to build in monthly, weekly, and daily reviews into your routines. And I know this takes time and it takes work, but I do promise it'll be worth it. It's much easier to learn as you go on a daily basis or a weekly basis than to waste years doing the same things over and over and over and hoping for different results. So I would say do a monthly review where you look back at the past month and really pull the lessons. Do a weekly review where you take a look back at your previous week and see where things went right, see where things went wrong, see where you can improve, and then do a daily review. Ask yourself at the end of the night, what did I learn today? And like, just asking yourself that question each day, you'll actually take time to stop and think about your experiences through the day and pull out the lessons. So I really think that's how you can challenge the status quo. That's how you can challenge the process and continuously improve, is by continuously reflecting on your life, pulling out the lessons, and then figuring out how to apply those. And so that actually leads us right into the fourth practice, which is enable others to act. And I think the big key that I think of when leading myself with this principle is the word act. And this has been one of the biggest things that I'm really trying to implement in my life right now. It's super easy to get stuck in a rut of having good intentions, but not actually following through with action. And what I mean by this is that, like, I believe most people do truly have good intentions for their lives. They do truly want to be a good person. They do truly want to get in great shape. They do truly want to be good husbands and good fathers. But intentions without actions are meaningless. And I've found this creeping into my life in a lot of different ways. And I think this is especially true this time of year. Like, if you set New Year's resolutions, if you set goals, I believe most of those really come from a sincere heart, and a sincere desire of these are things that you truly want to do. But if you don't actually follow through on the goals, then those intentions, even though they were good, didn't actually amount to much. So once you have set the vision for your life, once you know who you want to be and the values you want to live by, once you have taken time to reflect on your life, then really evaluate if you are consistently taking action. And the key word there is consistency, because we all have times where we don't follow through. And if that happens, just forgive yourself and just jump back in and take action the next day. But consistent action over a long period of time is going to move the needle more and more than you could ever imagine. But it's taking that consistent action. So commit to being someone who doesn't merely talk about the changes you want to make, but really be a person who does take action. And the last exemplary practice of leadership is to encourage the heart. And I think this is a really big one when it comes to leading yourself. Like, I believe that negative self-talk is one of the greatest killers of reaching your full potential and becoming the person you want to become. And man, I've struggled with this for the longest time, and I still have to really guard myself against it. Like, sometimes it's so easy if I make a mistake or if I didn't follow through on one of my commitments or just had a unproductive day or something, to just really start talking down on myself. Say things like you're lazy or you're not smart enough or that wasn't good enough or this isn't going to amount to anything. Like, those are thoughts that can really easily kind of play in my mind, or things that I can tell myself if I don't quite hit the standards that I want. But these are horrible messages to tell ourselves. But it's easy to slip into the habit of speaking that way to ourselves. But make a commitment today to get rid of all negative self-talk. And instead of talking negatively to yourself, make a commitment to start encouraging yourself. Tell yourself truths. Tell yourself that you are enough. Tell yourself that you are doing a great job. Tell yourself that you are a hard worker, that you do the things that it takes to be successful or to reach your goals or to continuously act. Tell yourself that. Build yourself up. And I guarantee just that little change will make a huge difference. I don't think we really realize how much our negative self-talk really affects us. But I've noticed, since I've really kind of named it and focused on cutting that out of my life and changing it for positive self-talk, just how big of a difference it makes. So if you make a mistake, just forgive yourself. It's okay. I know I'm a perfectionist sometimes, so I beat myself up, but really it's okay. Use it as a learning experience. Instead of telling yourself that you're a failure, learn from the experience, encourage yourself, and just jump right back in. Failure is a sign that you're actually stepping out of your comfort zone. Tell yourself that. Rewrite the script. Change the narrative in your head. Start speaking encouragement over your life. And I guarantee it'll help you tremendously and build confidence. So to wrap things up, the 5 exemplary practices are: model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. And I would encourage you to memorize those 5 practices and start applying them in how you lead others, but also just in how you lead yourself. And to learn more about these practices, please check out my episode with Mike Mitchell and read the book called The Leadership Challenge. That's where those are found. So I hope this episode was really encouraging to you. You can do this. I believe in you, and you have something incredible to offer this world. Now go live a life that you're proud of by living intentionally every single day. Thank you for tuning in to the Intentional Man podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you would like to support the show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, and leave a rating and review. If you are someone who is looking to take your life to the next level, accelerate your success, and live more intentionally, I would love to help. Shoot me a text at 970-430-6085, and we can schedule a time to meet to discuss your vision and your goals. Again, that is 970-430-6085. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, build a life that matters by living intentionally.